On the cracked back of a 6,000-pound survivor, a 6-ounce bird walks a thin line between help and harm. Every step, every motion, every second matters. For both of them. In the dry heat of the African savanna, where dust hangs golden in the air and the sun presses down like iron, a black rhinoceros lowers its head into a wall of thorn scrub. The animal is enormous, armored in thick gray dust-colored hide, scarred from old fights with rivals, possibly predators. Across its shoulders, picking through the folds of skin like a careful seamstress, moves a small red-billed oxpecker. The bird is tiny, barely the size of a human hand, but it walks the rhino as if it owns the body. At first glance, the deal looks simple. The bird eats the ticks and parasites that drink the rhino's blood. The rhino gets relief. The bird gets a meal, but biology rarely stays polite. As the oxpecker hops along the rhino's flank, it pauses, not over a parasite cluster, but over a wound. A wound that isn't carrying ticks at all. It pecks. Once, twice, the bleeding widens. The wound stays open under the African sun, and what the oxpecker takes from those wounds is more than nuisance feeding. Blood is protein. Blood is moisture. For a small bird in a drying landscape, every drop counts. The rhino tolerates this because on the better days, the oxpecker saves its life. When a distant figure shifts direction, when a shadow moves the wrong way across the grass, the oxpecker gives a sharp, staccato hiss, and the rhino lifts its head. Freezes. Listens. The bird's red beak moves in a rhythm no timeline can predict. 5 pecks here, a pause. 3 pecks there, a glance at the sky. It is a daily reshuffle of small, hungry decisions, and the rhino, weighing 100 times more than the bird, treats those decisions as part of its own body. The partnership has no contract. It has contract logic. Each partner gives what it can spare, takes what it must, and waits for the season to settle the score. This is the contradiction at the heart of the relationship. The bird feeds on the giant, sometimes in ways that may slow the giant's healing. The giant lets the bird stay because the bird may also be its earliest warning system. Walk away and a tick burden can thin a rhino's blood over weeks of summer. Stay too close and a wound never closes in the heat. The cost is written in small red ink marks on the hide, hidden in plain sight, written in skin. Some researchers suggest the oxpecker is a parasite riding a mutualist, a freeloader on a cleaner's coat. Others argue the alarm calls save more rhino lives than the wounds cost, and that wound pecking is rare, brief, a minor footnote. The honest scientific answer is that the relationship is unsettled. The bird is not purely helpful. The bird is not purely harmful. The truth lives in the uneasy middle, and that middle shifts with season, with the rhino's health, with the bird's hunger. Day after day, the dance continues. The oxpecker works the ears, the neck folds, the soft skin around the horn base. It cranes its red bill into crevices where no tongue, no claw, no other mouth could reach. By mid-morning, the savanna heat shimmers above the grass, and the oxpecker opens its beak wide to cool itself, perched on the largest, slowest landscape it will ever know. When the rhino wades into a mud wallow to coat itself against flies, dust turns to paste and the oxpecker flutters up, waits on a low branch and returns when the giant stills again. Away from the rhino, the oxpecker is almost nothing. Alone on a thorn branch, it is 6 ounces against hawks, snakes, and grass fires. On the rhino, it is 6 ounces with a fortress, a moving, breathing fortress of thick gray hide and sharp horn. The rhino is not the bird's friend. The rhino is the bird's landscape, a body of ground that travels, feeds, and heals slowly, but never quite as fast as the bird would like. And then comes the moment that tests the contract. A young calf trails its mother through the thorn scrub. The mother's ears flick at every sound. The oxpecker on her flank gives one short, urgent call, and the mother turns hard, pulling the calf behind her with a sharp head swing. The oxpecker has not eaten a tick in minutes. It has eaten panic, and it just kept a calf alive for another afternoon. The black rhino is built for survival, not for company. It carries its horn like a weapon, its skin like armor, its temper like a fuse. Yet on its back, the oxpecker moves without fear. The bird knows the rhino's body in ways most biologists can only observe from a distance. It knows where the hide is thin, It knows where the blood runs closest to the surface. It knows when the giant is calm, and it seems to know, too, when to step away. When the ears flatten, when the muscles coil, when a flap of skin becomes a warning, and there is a danger no researcher can warn the bird about. A rhino's ear twitch can be a flinch, not an attack. A sudden roll in the dust can crush a small body under 6 tons of motion. The oxpecker watches the giant the way the giant watches the horizon, always, hungrily, ready to leap. The trust between them is not love. It is not loyalty. It is a working agreement drawn up by hunger and signed in ticks and blood. When the night comes, the oxpecker leaves the rhino's flank and finds a thorn tree roost, calling softly to its mate across the dark. The rhino will sleep standing, ears turning toward every sound, dust still gray on its shoulders. Tomorrow morning, the bird will return. Tomorrow morning, the same question will return: help or harm? And both bodies, in their own slow languages, will answer the same way they always have. As the sun drops toward the tree line, the rhino settles beside a termite mound, the dust still settling from its last wallow. The oxpecker tucks its head beneath its wing. 6 tons of muscle and a few ounces of feather. 2 bodies sharing one uneasy contract under a wide sky. In the wild, partnership is rarely tidy. Helpful and harmful can be the same gesture, repeated until the season turns again. On the cracked back of an old survivor, the deal is renewed quietly, skittishly. One step, then another.